1 parcels within the district, plus 300 feet on the outside of the district. They have to be notified, so it has to be a larger place than this. If you have to be able to accommodate the possibility of all of them showing up, plus the public.
So when does it have to be done by in order to change this year's tax bill?
It has to be done prior to you billing out the winter tax bill.
Okay.
So,
I understand that. but I
yeah,
just-
so
So it has to
you're,
be done by
by the end of
November?
November, or mid-November, yeah. Which is all doable, and move towards the public hearings. So, I know Dale was anxious to find out if we're going to go forward to that point. So as soon as I know, I'll keep you informed on what we have to do for notices and when the public hearings will be, and also where we can accommodate that many people.
Did you figure out how much it would cost per parcel? How much the different, everybody?
Well, you
pays
take your
it?
total, might divide it by 101, so 22, yeah, about 25 bucks average or less, I think we were figuring, across the board for a year versus, one at 33 and one at 249. So there's a large difference. 33 cents, yeah.
There's quite a few 33 centers.
There's that or zero. Okay. Blue Lake Cemetery, that's the intersection markers. Mr. Bob, if you would kindly come up front. I'm sure the board, I hope everybody had a chance to go by and look at Blue Lake Cemetery and see those cemetery markers. I also went in and took pictures, looking towards the road. I took pictures where it has the 8, or where I just took one side where it was a 4, and then I took a close-up of one pipe in here. So I think the board has questions regarding cemetery. When we first talked about this, it was to make cemetery intersection markers,
Right,
correct?
intersection of the streets in the cemetery.
Okay, you set them up in this particular format.
This is just one intersection,
This is a whole intersection?
right.
How many intersections are in there?
In the whole cemetery?
Correct, because I just wanted,
12, somewhere around 12, 14.
I just was curious, because whenever you're marking the cemeteries, intersections, and how close together would these, how close together are these intersections?
This intersection, the next one on either side would be 67 foot either way.
And what are you planning on doing with pipes? I see they're white, at this point they have writing on one side.
That writing on the one side, in time, will disappear from the sun beating on it. That's why they're all turned to the east.
Is there going to be a name put on them? Is there any?
We could put names on them for the streets.
Are the streets currently named?
They are on the temporary,
So no, the board
thing,
really,
but we never decided exactly on how we're gonna figure out what the names are for the streets. I just took names randomly from the township.
Okay, so I am trying to understand this, Bob. There are going to be all of these PVC pipes sticking up, and they're going to help people find where there are
Well-
certain plots, is that correct?
Let me go on with, we have to put these intersections in first, so we can put the gravel for the road. Once the gravel is laid between these roads, the whole thing will flow out, and you'll realize what it looks like.
Okay. So we're going to make the roads by way of you putting these in?
It's all designed on a plan, approved by the board some years ago.
Okay, I'd like to see that plan.
Should be in the quick plot.
yeah.
Well, I didn't know how this was being set up, I didn't know.
Well, I think the question too is whenever you're looking at this on grass
Yeah, it just
versus
looks like a bunch of-
intersection, it doesn't make any real sense on grass. Because you're looking at it going, Okay, so,
I'm kinda wondering if there's something that looks better.
The intersection that
well,
you're
that was the
looking
other
at
question.
is this intersection right here. And these are all intersections. These are all the streets.
Now you're gonna have to bring it down this way so they can see too.
Okay, so you need how many by each intersection then?
There's, on a full intersection, there's 8 pipes. Now, some of these intersections will only have, like, this one here will have 2 on each side because this is the old part of the cemetery.
And so it would probably be best to write, or not write, but get letters to put on it.
I have stenciled that we can stencil those pipes with the street addresses on, or the street names on.
Stick them down.
You're looking on that picture, is this intersection right here.
Where's Blue Lake Road?
Right here. This is the old section of the cemetery up here.
Where's that trailer?
Trailer's just right in here, or, yeah, right here. Actually, this way.
Well, isn't there something that looks better than PVC on there?
That was the question. What is the, that was something we were talking about before.
We,
My wasteman's gonna be catalog through the way
And that was the question. Why he put a sample out there was for the board to look at to determine.
determine if we wanna go with that, or, that is the, most, cost effective as far as I'm concerned, because there's no maintenance to this PVC. We don't have to paint it.
Yeah,
Is it set in cement, Bob?
No,
instead of
we
cost,
can,
How far down is it?
they're down 2 foot.
instead of cost effective, looks cheap to me.
The pictures,
There's something better than PVC, I know what PVC looks like. There's something that looks better than PVC.
We went through that in the budget hearing also, trying to find out. I gotta agree with Dick, let's see, these aren't gonna be put in, are these, you're gonna put in the roads before these markers are all?
no, we
When
have
you're
to
gonna
put the markers in so we know where to put the gravel.
I think,
Where you gonna put the gravel down?
Hopefully this year yet.
I think we should investigate if there's something that
Yeah.
it looks so beautiful in there. Is there something that looks more
nicer.
appealing to the eye than PVC? Because there's gonna be numerous of these.
Excuse me, I don't know. There is no writing on the things yet, right?
Right.
Okay. So, I can see what you're doing, and that's the way to do it, very, at this point. Since we spent the money on it, we might as well go forward, and you can start the road, to get it with the ground, the first steps.
Right.
That'll give everybody else a guideline of seeing what's going to happen. And then that's spring us, or say, okay, that's the way to go, and get some support.
But the question is there something other than PVC pipes? I don't
No,
think
he's
we're
saying-
against marking the intersections. I think it's the aesthetic appeal of
What
what
he's
they are.
saying is get the corners marked,
Mhm.
don't have to be PVC.
So you're
Right.
saying whatever to mark
Well,
the
it don't
corner.
have to
Mark
be.
something.
I know what everybody, but we've already, knew what PVC, or whatever it is gonna be when we said yes to it. Now we gotta discuss and do the first little stuff to show where the roads are.
Right, but we actually, even during the budget discussions is there something else that can be put in there besides PVC? So the question is, does he pursue this with PVC, or is there something else that's more appealing?
You can put 2x2s in there and mark the corners.
Or 4x4.
Well, the question is that's where the board has to come in. It's time to mark the corners. And so Mr. Dyke is saying, what do you want me to mark them with?
Is it time?
But I'm not gonna sit there and paint all the 2x2s to
No,
mark
I
the
understand
corners.
that, I'm just saying, is there,
I don't know what else we can use that's economical and, cost effective. I mean, we could
Something
put,
that looks
we
a
could
little
put
more
bronze
natural
poles
up
in
there.
there.
I know what he's
Okay.
saying, and I know what everybody else is saying, but said, okay,
I mean, we can put bronze
We
posts
didn't,
in
Don,
there,
that's the
$200
thing.
a piece.
Yeah, that's why it's brought to us. That's why I put the sample in.
oh,
To-
you
for us to
paid-
look
you paid
at.
for it.
That's, we did, but what we're saying is this is a sample, look at this, then determine, is this what we want in there, or do we want something that looks more appealing?
Well, if you're gonna spend all this money on a cemetery out there like that, you gotta have something that looks a little better than PVC pipe sticking up like that.
Okay, so then, what I'm seeking is a motion to table this for the next month's meeting with a
I'll make-
comeback, with a other options for marking those corners, so we can move forward after that.
How about that?
So, do I hear a motion to table it?
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, can you mark the corners and get the gravel down before we put up the markers? I mean, can you mark them like just with a stake?
Well, yeah, but it takes a whole lot more work to do it.
To do
Yeah.
what?
To mark 12 corners.
And not only that, but I've had markers in there already for different intersections, and I don't know who does it, but somebody goes in there and uproots them and tips them over and does whatever. Just like I found coins on top of gravestones already. I don't know what the significance is.
I don't know either, but, okay, so do I hear a motion to table this to the August meeting with more information with other options for the markers to be? I hear a motion from Dick, is there support?
I support.
Okay, there's a motion by Dick, thank you, Bob. Support by Debbie, roll call please.
Dick,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Lyle,
Yes.
Melanie,
Aye.
Don.
Yes.
Okay, so Dick, that's something that you're gonna probably wanna get information on too. Tim?
I'll tell you.
I would like to see the gravel get going.
Well, and
Yeah,
if we
way
get
It's
in,
gonna take a lot more work.
if we get into, I understand I'm not wanting to put them in twice, so. All right, Mr. Crawford, energy project, update. And the next one actually kind of is gonna, be falling on you too. It'll be me, but it'll fall on you, and that's yard sale. What we got from Bob was the energy project information packet, so.
Yeah, basically, we're completed with the conversion of all the lighting in the two buildings of the township. It consisted basically of replacing or retrofitting about 98% of all of our fixtures. The indoor lighting, mostly fluorescent, has been changed from T12 bulbs, which are the fat bulbs, down to T8s, which constitutes a 30 to 40% decrease in energy. And we were also able to decrease the number of bulbs per fixture. For instance, this room used to have 3 bulbs per fixture. We were able to reduce across the board about 20% the number of bulbs needed to run. So not only are we going to expect to get a 30 to 40% decrease in energy on the fluorescent bulbs, but we're using 20% less bulbs in all 3 buildings. On the exterior lighting, we've converted from the likes of metal halide, mercury vapor, high-pressure sodiums, and halogens to LED. We eliminated 1 exterior light out of 12, so we still have 11. Out of those 11, 9 of them are LEDs, and the difference in energy use is going to be as high as 75 to 80% reduction in energy for those lights. We have gotten to the point where all the physical work is done. I have submitted the final application 2 days ago, 2 work days ago. And that's going to release the funds for the reimbursement. which is going to be in the neighborhood of 33% of the money spent on the project.